Classic 6. I want to give you a little preview here of the Ranger. This is my 3.5-inch build, and I'm thinking the name Ranger to kind of signify that, you know, this thing has some range, it can cover some ground, but it's not a true long range. It's still kind of a hybrid, it's still intended to be pretty freestyle-ish. I started this out by just basically taking a Touring 122 and scaling it up, but there's some things that I want to change, or have to change even, to kind of make this fit the mission a little bit better, fit the purpose a little bit better. One of those things is these motors. So these are the T-Motor 1404, and I'm flying them on the 3800 kV with the 3.5-inch props, flying on 4S with Tattoo R-Line, either 550 or 650 batteries. Still haven't decided which battery I like better. If I'm flying it hard, I'm actually not seeing much difference in flight time between the two. On the other hand, if I fly it more chill, the 650 gives quite a bit more flight time. I think that's because with the difference in weight, which is about 10 grams, when you're flying it hard, you got to get into the throttle more on the 650, and so you kind of give up some of the benefit. But things about the frame, I think that the motors were kind of blowing through these arms. So these are still pretty skinny arms. It's in 4mm thick carbon fiber. But I was getting some low throttle oscillation. I think it was that kind of classic twisting sort of thing. And so as I was trying to tune it, I couldn't push the tune as far as I'd like. And so then I tried doing a brace between the two back arms. So I took, you can see I sacrificed another frame and used that as a little brace, and the oscillations went away. But then I pulled the brace off, and then the oscillations were still gone. So I don't know exactly what's happening there. But regardless, I do think it makes sense to go ahead and beef this frame up, and so it's going to be slightly thicker or wider arms. The other thing that's going to happen is I wanted to change the battery orientation. So normally I'm doing these things sitting horizontally or toilet tank, and with this, with the idea of going further distances, I want to bring the battery in underneath and kind of tuck it and hide it, tuck it in and hide it underneath the rest of the quad, just to save a little bit on efficiency in terms of being able to cover that distance. To do that though, I needed to push out the camera mount or the cage so that this can sit flat. So one of my theories on batteries and things like that is that you absolutely want the battery to sit flat on the frame and directly in contact with the frame. The reason for that is that these batteries, they weigh a lot, and mass is good for damping things down. It's basically like mechanical determ. And so the reason I wanted to have it sitting right down onto the frame is so that you make it effectively part of the frame and use that mass to dampen out, to mechanically dampen out vibrations and things like that. And so that's the logic there. So with this frame as it is, the battery does not fit between the ends of the cage, because the ends of the cage kind of stick down a little bit. And so I'm pushing those outwards so that way I can move the battery underneath in the lengthwise position, kind of hide it with the rest of the quad. The other advantage I think that's going to give me is it's going to give me some room to move the GPS a little bit further away from the VTX. So as we stretch this out, it's not going to be a lot, but it'll move the GPS, and I think every little bit helps. Some of the things I still need to kind of sort out is the GPS. So I put the GPS, the satellites, up on my OSD, and as I was flying, I was getting, so I flew picking up about 5 satellites, which I think is, I don't know if that's okay or that's on the low side, but trying to use the Betaflight kind of return to home arrow. So you put it in OSD, and supposedly, you know, when you're flying in the right direction, the quad it'll tell you which direction is home, or as you're turning, it's going to tell you which direction is home. And that little arrow is not working for me. So I still need to figure that out. I still need to figure out the GPS rescue. Obviously the other part needs to work. It needs to know where home is to be able to rescue. I think things that are working well, I've got one of these Express LRS 2 antenna receivers, so diversity receivers, and I've got one antenna mounted out on the arm, and then perpendicular to it, you can see I got an antenna in the back, and so that makes those nice and 90 degrees, and in I think kind of oriented in the way that, you know, I'm getting good reception. And then I put on, so using this TrueRC little singularity, that's definitely giving me better reception, but on my goggles I still need to get some patches because I'm not getting, this isn't going as far as I think I want it to, because when I'm getting out and hiking, it's just big distance that I have to get to these rock faces, and I just need a little bit more VTX penetration. So that's kind of where it's at. I wanted to give you a little preview. Kind of feel bad I haven't done this, the tuning video, finish that up yet, but I don't know, I'm just not super motivated, and I think you got to be motivated to make good videos. So still really, I don't know, I'm trying to decide which battery I like. I think I might end up buying a couple of each and just having the option for a bigger battery for further range on cruising and a lighter battery for more freestyle. I am kind of curious to try out, GNB has a square style, it's kind of this yellow label, and it is a 650 that's splits the difference in the weight between the 550 and 650. And then also Beta FPV has come out with their lava cells, which are folded, and they've got a 550 4S. Comes in about the same weight as the Tattoo, so I'm kind of curious to compare those. But I don't know, that's what I got at this point in time. So I do have the frame, the revisions that I kind of talked about. It's cut, hopefully it's cutting on the way by now, so I've been using CNC Madness, and I put in that order, so hopefully that will come in. I'll rebuild this. Oh, annoyance. One of the things I figured out today is I was watching some videos, and I kind of noticed that I kept having to correct the quad on the roll axis, and sure enough my quad has a drift on the roll axis, so pretty annoying. It's a brand new flight controller in terms of, like, I've never beat it up or anything like that. I've only used it in this build, bought it new for this build. It is a TuneRC Poly 405 board, and pretty annoyed to get that drift. It's not awful, but it's definitely enough to where I notice it when I'm flying, and I don't know, I'm not super excited about tearing this all apart and unsoldering everything and spending another, whatever it is, 70 bucks on it, on a new board. But yeah, I've got that little drift issue, and trying to decide, since I'm going to tear this down anyways to put on a new frame, do I want to go ahead and get the new flight controller? Haven't decided on that just yet. All right, till next time, cheers.